Welcome to Women Lead, a production of the Women of Color Empowerment Institute. We are your hosts. I'm Kathy Eggleston.
I'm Bernadette Norris Weeks.
And I am Michelle Austin Pammies.
Our show today is about women of color leaders in the field of technology, often referred to as STEM, an acronym for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. It is difficult to consider anything in modern life that does not involve computers and computer technology. Some of us may recall a time when we did not have a computer in our home and you had to go to a computer lab in order to use the computer. Remember that in college?
Definitely. Unfortunately, I do.
Of course, now we have computers everywhere. We have them on our desks, laps, watches, and phones. These technological advancements have changed the way we think, and certainly the way we live.
Well, the impact of tech in business has created whole new economies. However, when it comes to programming, coding, and the way these machines and their software work together, it is clear that STEM careers have not been welcoming to all.
This show is dedicated to women who are rural leaders in the field of technology and happen to also be women of color. They are Jacky Wright with Microsoft and Lisa Francoeur, who has a business called Tutors.
What these leaders all have in common is that they want to increase the number of women and women of color in STEM. Stay tuned for a talk with them after these messages.
The Florida Lottery is proud to support education by contributing billions of dollars to Florida schools and awarding countless Bright Future scholarships so Florida students can do more than just dream of a brighter future. They can create one. Learn more at flalottery.com.
Imagine yourself in a new Toyota. With great deals, get ready to turn your dreams into reality.
Right now, during Toyota's Ready, Set, Go event, lease a new 2021 Toyota Corolla LE for just $179 a month for 36 months. That's just $179 a month on the Toyota Corolla.
Ready, set, go get your Toyota today.
Toyota, let's go places.
We have with us Jacky Wright, who is the Chief Digital Officer at Microsoft. Welcome, Jacky.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you for having me.
Jacky, now tech is a term that encompasses so much about how we experience the world and even how we work and live, especially these days. Tell us how you rose as a leader in the field of technology.
So let me tell you just a little bit about my background. I started out in university as a political science major, wanting to solve the world's injustices. And I got a job while I was in school working at a bank. And I was doing manual work, and over in the corner was a computer, IBM PC at the time, and on it was Lotus 123. And I thought, wow, I could put some of my manual work onto Lotus 123, which I did. And it was at that point that I realized, wait a second, this computer stuff isn't all bad at all. And, you know, as the geek that I recognized I was, you know, it didn't occur to me at the time, but, you know, I always loved math, etc. Then I used to go around the bank and say, hey, tell me what you're doing. I could put that on the computer for you. And so I got this reputation as this young kid who, frankly, was the little geek going around and really trying to automate things. Because of that, you know, they let me go into the computer science, the computer department. And from then, that's how I started out. You know, a young lady, the only woman in that department at the time, took me under her wing, taught me the ropes of culturally navigating a male-dominated world. And after that, I graduated and I went on to take other roles as in computers, as a project manager, as a project leader, senior manager, and here's where I am today at Microsoft. You know, as I look back on it, I would have never imagined that technology would have been where I would have ended up. At the time, I didn't, you know, if you can't see it, you can't be it. So I had no clue that there was anything like a career in computer science and technology. And today I see it as my role to just make sure that young girls, young people of color, just young in general can see that they too can have a role in technology, do exciting things in technology, and thrive in technology.
There's been a long-held belief that tech is neutral. It's math and programs, so inherently fair because it's free to operate without human prejudices. But we know that is not always so. How should we talk about technology when it comes to the subject of inclusion?
So I think there are two things here. One is technology has the ability to level the playing field relative to people and careers and roles. Technology is in everything we do. Every role has a technological element in it. Whether you think about manufacturing, whether you think about retail, design, technology is integral to all of that. So that's one piece of it. And what that does is it creates a playing field where everyone could and should participate. There's the piece about whether technology has inherent biases in it. And as we start to think about AI and what we do there, we have to think about AI responsibly. We have to understand the ethical implications of not making sure it is inclusive and it's comprehensive. And that is another area where having diversity at the table, diversity of thought, experiences, gender, race, you name it, to really look at the problem at hand and look at how it's been solved will assure us that we are designing and operating in a responsible way with technology.
In general, what are some of the biggest challenges in the tech industry right now?
What are some of the biggest challenges? It really is about how do we harness the power of technology to really solve the world's greatest challenges relative to protecting the environment, sustainable agriculture, manufacturing, or even providing access to quality education and healthcare. It's also about asking ourselves, how do we do that ethically, with trust and transparency at the core of everything we do? And then how do we ensure that everyone, regardless of who they are, where they were born, and what their life experiences have been, are included in this digital economy?
What is Microsoft doing in the tech space that makes you particularly proud right now?
You know, I'm really proud about what Microsoft is doing as it relates to social impact. We're really focused on how we can engage in the community to provide equity for all in areas such as education, healthcare, housing, and access to capital. This is really all about creating a level playing field so that everyone can thrive and participate in this, what hopefully will become a renewed economy out of this pandemic.
Do you have any ideas to share about the future of tech and what users can expect going forward?
What I think is really exciting about technology, this whole digital transformation that's affecting all businesses, how we work, and can really help solve some of the world's macro existential problems, is you're going to start to see the use in places that we really never thought that we could use technology. I mean, in agriculture, you think of agriculture as a manually intensive industry, but you can use technology to understand how to use water more effectively, to predict crop access, how crops grow. There's just so much that can be done. I am really excited about our ability to really change the world in a positive way.
Jacky, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed this conversation.
We'll be right back.
The law office of Austin, Pammies, Norris, Weeks, Powell is a full-service law firm practicing in the area of governmental law, including the representation of municipalities, civil litigation, personal injury, real estate, and corporate transactional matters. With over 100 years of collective experience, our attorneys are admitted to practice before state courts, federal courts, and the United States Supreme Court. We are conveniently located in downtown Fort Lauderdale and can be reached at 954-768-9770. Or for more information about the law firm of Austin, Pammies, Norris, Weeks, Powell, visit our website at apnwlaw.com. That's apnwlaw.com.
The Florida Lottery is proud to support education by contributing billions of dollars to Florida schools and awarding countless Bright Future scholarships so Florida students can do more than just dream of a brighter future. They can create one. Learn more at flalottery.com.
Welcome back to Women Lead. We're here with Lisa Francoeur, co-founder of Tutors.
Thank you for joining us, Lisa.
Thank you so much for having me at the Women of Color Empowerment Institute and Women Who Lead.
All right. Well, today's leadership conversation is all about technology and STEM, and that is right up your alley. And so for the audience, first of all, tell us a little bit about yourself and your background in technology.
Absolutely. Well, I have been in tech for over a decade. I worked at startups that specialize in search engine optimization to mobile engagement technology providers, as well as Fortune 100s, including the world's largest professional social network, which is LinkedIn, for the past 4.5 years. And now at Tutors, I have an educational platform that simplifies cryptocurrency through e-learning, one-to-one tutoring, as well as edutainment. So yeah, I'm your girl.
Glad to hear it. Let's talk about diversity.
Okay.
As you know, we're here with the Women of Color, and our audience is really interested in that. So in the social media companies, the major ones like Twitter, TikTok, Facebook.
LinkedIn.
Since you work there, we'll mention it. We're trying to figure out, how do we get more diversity in the employment there and in the management in these settings? How do we get that to happen?
Well, I think that the lack of representation has everything to do with the notion that talent knows talent. And so typically what happens is that the best candidates come from referrals. And so, people tend to socialize with folks from the similar backgrounds. And as a result, that has perpetuated the issues related to the lack of representation of people of color in tech. And so that, coupled with the ideas that the extent of the opportunities in tech are solely technical. When I said that I've been in tech for the past 10.5 years, actually I think it's 12 now. I've been in it for a long time, suffice to say, but I sold software. And I think that it's really important that folks realize that there are opportunities above and beyond the technical opportunities. So a few things that I got involved in throughout my career. Diversity recruitment has been something that I've recognized that as a person of color who has influence within the industry, it's important that I am very proactive in highlighting opportunities within the industry and showcasing that I, as someone who started their career as a fashion stylist, who would have thought that I would be selling software for, LinkedIn? And I say that to say, the representation, seeing people that look like you in the industry has also been, helpful in attracting more folks that look like us. And I think from a leadership perspective, a lot of organizations, especially after, George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and just what's happened during the pandemic with the awareness of the Black plight in this country, what we've seen is a lot of organizations making pledges to create more inclusive environments and corporate cultures. However, if leadership is not making the diversity recruitment efforts an operating priority of the business, then no matter how much hype around doing the right thing there is, if there isn't a concerted effort to proactively recruit this audience, these individuals, then the issue will not be resolved. And so I think that there is a top-down when we talk about leadership, but also a bottom-up. And that was what I did at organizations like LinkedIn, where I got involved in the diversity recruiting efforts. So here I am managing a multi-million-dollar portfolio. My job was to double, but I took on extracurricular activities so that I could, be involved in the recruiting efforts. And so I would encourage anyone who's interested in looking at tech, because we want to make sure that your audience is given actionable advice. If you're interested in tech, no matter what or where your interest lies, do your research. I mentioned LinkedIn as a social media platform because LinkedIn is the world's largest professional social network. And as a result, you can not only source job and employment opportunities on the platform, but you can also reach out to people who are in the positions that you're interested in. And I think that that's really important to know that when it comes to, being in an industry where folks like us are grossly underrepresented, we can't just expect for them to find us. We need to also take the initiative to source the opportunities ourselves and to reach out to people like me or other folks who are in the positions that you want to be in. That was super long-winded, but I hope it was helpful.
Well, that's interesting because the thing we want to discuss with you, most importantly, since you're an entrepreneur, is we're looking at all these different platforms. We're talking big platforms, right? Twitter, Facebook, etc. We also have a lot of smaller companies starting up, and there's space in there for people of color to get involved. We talked about STEM education. Maybe it doesn't necessarily have to be that you have to be educated in technology. You can perhaps just leverage the knowledge that you gain now that the youth is using the technology routinely to sell your platform.
Yes.
Right? We talked about that. But in terms of creating a business, a social media based business, or a business in that space, in other words, creating your own social media platform or creating some derivative of that. What advice do you have for entrepreneurs interested in that?
Well, if you're going to build tech, you have to have the technical prowess to develop it, right? And so, you want to know your strengths. If you are someone who is a salesperson, right? Like someone who has the ability to engage people and influence, then you have to decide whether or not developing a new area of expertise makes business sense, given that time is a finite resource. So, in an instance where you have an idea, but you don't have the technical knowledge to develop what would be required for you to create your own tech company, you can start to consider co-founders. You can start to partner with people who have the technical understanding required. And the best, I think, partnerships are those in which each person's, what I call authentic intelligence, the new AI, we'll talk about that later. Each person's authentic intelligence is leveraged. And by virtue of recognizing where your, shortcomings lie, but knowing where your strengths lie, you can get someone to help you fill those, shortcomings. So it doesn't always mean that you have to be an engineer and develop your own technology. So there's that. Secondly, I would say that there are a variety of institutions that can empower you with the knowledge required to build the technical proficiencies required to build your technology. So, back in the day, you had to go to MIT. You had to go to these institutions that it was so expensive and so out of reach to gain, to study comp sci, for example. But now with boot camps, the educational arena has been, using a crypto term, decentralized. And so you no longer have to go to these massive institutions to get the understanding to build your technology and study comp sci. So another thing I would say as well, YouTube is a tremendous resource for free education. You can go on YouTube and you could straight up look at C++, which is, a coding. You could learn how to code online. You could go to Khan Academy. I'm saying this because I think that knowledge is power, and although it's great that you have, if you're a salesperson or even if you're a technical person, you want to always be learning. The last thing I'll say, because we talked about free resources to increase your educational understanding, is also government institutions. So SCORE, for instance, right? Like, I forget what it stands for.
Small Business Administration, SCORE,
Get you some friends that know what they're talking about. So there's that. SCORE, right? So it caters to small businesses. You can get a mentor to help you with scaling your business, operationalizing your business. Leverage these resources and don't just sit there and, gripe about what you don't have. A lack of resources does not mean that you can't be resourceful.
I believe, Kathy, that there are a couple of things we've just learned from Lisa. One of them is that she's the marketing arm of her co-founder status, and that she probably...
I'm just the face of the brand.
No, what it is she found someone with the technology expertise who developed the technology, and then she had the marketing knowledge in that space and was able to found her company. So clearly you're talking from experience. Did you also use SCORE?
Of course, yeah.
They're older, retired kind of executives, people like me or something.
Who doesn't want to learn from you?
Listen, and then they can come and provide support for entrepreneurs. That's a good thing for people to know.
Alrighty. Now, in your answer, you mentioned the word crypto.
Yes.
And I cannot let you leave the set without telling me what I need to know about crypto, because I know I need to know about it, and I don't. And you've got expertise. Tell us.
Okay, well, I'll have you here for the rest of your life.
No, just give us the basics, because, we don't understand. We need to know basic things like what does crypto look like, what it is, how you can use it, how you can sell it, what you can buy with it, how you can...
So let's...
What she said.
The basics.
The basics. Okay. So I will try to be as succinct and as simple as possible, because that's what we do at Crypto Tutors. We simplify cryptocurrency through e-learning, one-to-one tutoring, and edutainment. We'll talk about that later. So let's start with what is crypto. Crypto is a digital asset. So a digital asset that facilitates peer-to-peer transactions. This is really important because what crypto has done is crypto is decentralized, which means that there is no singular authority associated with the governance, right? So if you think about a fiat currency, for example, euros, dollars, there are central authorities, like here in the US, the Federal Reserve, that dictates the amount of dollars that can be printed, for example. The challenge with having a singular entity in governing the currency is that security breaches, for example, right? There's counterfeit dollars, okay? Secondly, hyperinflation is also an issue. Hyperinflation in countries like Venezuela and Zimbabwe completely destabilized the economy. And in a place like Zimbabwe, for instance, there was $1 trillion note printed. That $1 trillion note could buy bread.
In other words, they're printing money.
And interestingly enough, and let's make this time relevant, we're in the midst of a pandemic. It's COVID-19. There was a stimulus package in which I don't know how many, billions, not trillions of dollars were printed. Where did that money come from? So I say all of this to say, when it comes to cryptocurrency, particularly a cryptocurrency like Bitcoin, which was the first cryptocurrency ever released, ever made, Bitcoin, there's 21 million units. So it's very scarce. It's a finite resource. Bitcoin is built on the blockchain. Blockchain is a global network of computers. And every time Bitcoin is bought and sold, the transaction is validated on the blockchain. So that means that it can't be faked, right? So again, in the example of the counterfeiting of money, that can't happen on the blockchain, right? There have been encryption hacks though, but for the most part, because there's a global network of computers, the computers are validating the transactions.
I'm going to interrupt you to ask.
That's a lot.
Can Bitcoin be used to pay for merchandise?
Yes.
When you say peer-to-peer,
Yes.
what were you referring to?
Peer-to-peer transactions, right? So to your point, there are certain organizations that will allow you to buy a product with Bitcoin. Tesla recently announced that they would allow you to buy Teslas with Bitcoin.
So we can't use it wherever we want. We could only use it where it's accepted. I get that.
Correct.
We thank you so much for coming on. We could hear much more about what you have to say, and I'm sure we could learn more. But we thank you very much, Lisa Francoeur, for coming and sharing your knowledge.
Francoeur, I like the way you said it.
So much more. And thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. This is Women Lead.
The Florida Lottery is proud to support education by contributing billions of dollars to Florida schools and awarding countless Bright Future scholarships so Florida students can do more than just dream of a brighter future. They can create one. Learn more at flalottery.com.
To learn more about membership and how you can support our programs or be a sponsor of the Women Lead TV, visit us at nationalwomenofcolor.com. Again, that's nationalwomenofcolor.com. Ladies, I've learned so much today. I really feel a little intimidated by the whole cryptocurrency discussion, but hopefully after today, both myself and our viewers will feel a little bit more confident about talking about it.
Oh, these were some powerhouse women we had on today.
Absolutely.
I would say that with respect to the cryptocurrency conversation, at least it gives us enough to go read and learn. It gives us a little basic information that we can build from, but it's a lot.
That's true. It's a lot, and we learned a lot, and there's a lot more for us to do in the field of technology in terms of women of color and people of color, and we look forward to learning more and growing as we all maneuver technology together.
Well, I feel more empowered after today's conversation. I hope our audience does too. So ladies, what do you say?
Be empowered.